Daniel Sports Center to give a college football bowl preview and prediction on the 2021 Fenway Bowl matchup between the SMU Mustangs and the Virginia Cavaliers. Both teams have had good seasons to this point. Should make for a good matchup here in the Fenway Bowl. We'll be going over a full game preview and prediction on this matchup here today, starting out with your team trends. SMU lost to Tulsa, 31-34 was the final score there. So a tough loss for SMU to finish out the regular season. But they're 8-4 heading into this matchup, and they would be considered as one of the better teams in the American Athletic in this 2021 season. They've got a 2-game losing streak heading into this matchup. This team did lose to Cincinnati as well in the second to last week of the regular season. But down the stretch, SMU 8-4 is not a bad record. Virginia is 6-6 heading into this matchup. They barely clinched bowl eligibility. They've lost 4 straight heading into this matchup. Haven't won since October 23rd. Did lose to Virginia Tech there 24-29. So, this team is fighting, though. They're not getting blown out terribly in these losses that they've had. But, down the stretch, it's been pretty tough for Virginia, losing a lot of close ones. It'll be on Wednesday, December 29th in Boston, Massachusetts. Game time is 11 a.m. Eastern time. Spread's going with Virginia here by 2.5 points. So, Cavaliers are favored here just slightly, over under 71.5. So, a higher scoring game is expected here in this matchup, which it makes sense. You got 2 high-powered offenses here, and both defenses are pretty mediocre. So, it makes sense why this would be expected to be a higher scoring matchup. And FBI is going with Virginia here, 53.8%. So, Cavaliers are slightly favored in this matchup by both the spread and the FPI. Also, the first matchup between these two teams in both of their histories. Here's your stat comparison for this game. SMU, 38 points per game, 28 points allowed. So, you can see what I'm saying by these are 2 offensive teams here. Both defenses aren't very good. SMU is allowing 28 points per game. Virginia is allowing 31 points a game in this 2021 season. And as for the Cavs, they're getting 34 points per game on the season. As for SMU, heavy passing offense here. 304 passers a game, 161 rush yards. So they know how to rush the ball as well. And then for yards allowed, you got 278 passing, 137 for rushing. And especially that pass defensive stat there with passers allowed per game, that is not very impressive for SMU. 278 average passers allowed per game this season. As for Virginia, 34 points per game, 31 points allowed. Then you're also a very heavy passing offense, even more so than SMU. 392 passers a game, 123 rush yards, and then for yards allowed, you got 240 passing, 225 for rushing. So rushing defense has been the main issue defensively for Virginia. 225 average rush yards have been allowed per game for the Cavs. So that is definitely concerning. For SMU here, they're not much of a rushing team. They got their lead back, who would be Trey Siggers. He's had a good season, 720 yards or so, 9 touchdowns as well on the season. So he's going to have a big game here in this matchup if they want to beat Virginia. The quarterback situation, though, both teams have got good quarterbacks. You got Mordecai on the SMU side, over 3,600 yards, 39 touchdowns. Brennan Armstrong on Virginia's side, 4,400 yards, 31 touchdowns. So both quarterbacks definitely are excellent football players, and that's why this is a intriguing matchup here, is because both defenses are pretty weak, but offensively there are some big playmakers on both sides of the ball here. But as for some recent matchups, SMU once again they lost 4 of their last 5. Lost to Tulsa, lost to Cincinnati 14-48. Did beat UCF 55-28. That's the big outlier in their past 5 games or so. UCF is a pretty good football team, and SMU went in there and they played an excellent game. Lost to Memphis, lost to Houston as well. Lost to Memphis by 3, and then Houston by a touchdown. As for the Cavs, they lost to Virginia Tech 24-29. Lost to Pitt 38-48. Pitt is actually a very good football team. Just won the ACC. Kenny Pickett, excellent offense there as well. So Pitt's a pretty good football team. But Notre Dame did lose to them by a decent amount, 3-28, and lost to BYU in a shootout, 66-49 was the final score there. Virginia fell short in that game as well, but beat Georgia Tech. That was the last game that Virginia won. So this football team, they were 6-2 at one point this 2021 season, and they were looking excellent heading into later parts of October into November. But obviously, that schedule down the stretch has been tough for Virginia to say the least. But beat Georgia Tech there 48-40. Some key points for this one: SMU 8-4. Tanner Mordecai over 3,600 pass yards for this football team. So he's had a good season. 39 touchdowns, 12 picks. Touchdown interception ratio is pretty good. Accuracy is pretty good. So yeah, Mordecai definitely a talented football player there. And I mean, going up against Virginia's pass defense, I mean, their pass defense isn't very good, but I mean, certainly their rush defense is worse. So, I mean, if you're SMU in this situation, if you could shift to the rushing game, I think that would be a key to success here for the Mustangs, is making sure to use Mordecai, obviously, because he's a good player, but also get Siggers involved and get the rushing game involved in this matchup. But pass defense for SMU has been an issue, though. So going up against Virginia here, a very heavy passing offense. Brennan Armstrong, 4,400 yards on the season, 31 touchdowns. I mean, he's been a huge player. He's been a big reason why Virginia's even in a bowl situation right now. And so he's going to be playing against a pretty poor SMU pass defense. And I mean, who knows? I mean, Armstrong could throw for 400 yards in this game, and I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, that's where it is here for Virginia. I mean, they know how to throw the ball. They got some great receivers. I mean, Wicks, their top receiver, has 1,200 receiving yards on the season, 9 touchdowns. So yeah, for SMU, their pass defense is going to have to play much better. And I mean, honestly, I mean, I just feel like, I mean, obviously Virginia, the arrow points to them right now, because for SMU to win, you might have to shift to some other ways offensively. You may have to rely on the rushing game much more than Virginia. Virginia just, I mean, they can just keep doing what they've been doing, and they've got a good chance to win this game. So for Virginia, that's why they're favored in this matchup. But yeah, rush defense has been an issue for Virginia. So once again, that's what SMU is going to have to do, is rushing against this Cavalier defense. But quality wins for both teams. For SMU, you got North Texas. They are in a bowl game, TCU and then UCF. And then for Virginia, beat Miami and Louisville. So both teams really don't have any significant wins on the schedule, but I mean, both teams have played good down the stretch. But that being said, let's get to the prediction here for SMU and Virginia Fenway Bowl matchup. I'm going to go with the Cavs here. 38-31 is my predicted final score. This is a tough one. I mean, both teams are pretty talented, and I mean, both teams have also kind of crumbled down the stretch per se. I mean, both teams have lost 4 of their last 5. Virginia's got a 4-game losing streak heading into this matchup. So, I mean, it's tough to predict there. I mean, both teams really don't have much momentum. So, I mean, that's really not much of a difference. But I just feel like Virginia has the edge offensively. I feel like I'm more confident in Brennan Armstrong than Tanner Mordecai, although both quarterbacks are definitely talented and very capable of winning this game. But I'm going to go 55% towards Virginia. So it's going to be a close one for sure. I'm going to go with the favorites here, and I'm going to take Virginia to cover as well. They win by a touchdown here in this matchup. Over under 71.5. I think that's kind of high. I'm going to take the under in this game. I do think the under is definitely very reasonable. Potentially, we could see a shootout. I mean, Virginia, they just played BYU, and that game scored over 110 points. So who knows? We could see that happen again. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it were to be the case. Both defenses have allowed a lot of points this season, but here's what I'm expecting: 38-31. Virginia gets the win. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this game, and I appreciate you guys all watching as always. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. I'll see you later.